As you may know, this has been a long time coming. Every convention has wanted to do something like this, and we're very proud to bring him to Cincinnati. As you may not know, this is Andrew Satterfield, director and owner of the Cincinnati Comic Expo. This event has been one of his dreams, and this has been one of our dream guests to bring, and we're very pleased to share it with all of you. We know this is a dream for many of you as well, as we've seen the reactions on social media over the last several weeks and months since we've made this announcement. So, without any further ado, let's give him a Cincinnati welcome. Everybody on your feet. Let's give him a roar. Stan Lee!
Excelsior! Thank you. Oh, what a low chair. Now that we're here, do what I told you. Come here.
Oh my God.
No, come here. Put your arm around me. My friend is a ventriloquist.
So he's not actually speaking.
It's not me actually talking, because I don't know what the hell to say. All right, I've been wanting to say that for years, so now that's over.
It's funny. A couple of days ago, we lost our date because we were doing something, and today's Friday. Wednesday, he's like, "Hey, we're going tomorrow." I said, "No, we're leaving Friday." "Yeah, tomorrow's Friday." I go, "No, Stan, it's not." So I pick him up at the house yesterday. Has a suitcase in hand, ready to go. And I go, "Where are you going?"
That's how anxious I was to come here.
So, we're in Cincinnati, Stan. What do you think? What do you think, Stan? We're in
Cincinnati. Oh, are you finished now? It's time for me to say something? Listen, Cincinnati is just great. You are the greatest people in the world, and nowhere else would I have left my comfortable house, my little doggy, my kitchen with all the food I like, my television set, to come over here and be bossed around by him. But you're worth it. Now that we're here, what are we going to do?
We're going to talk about some guy that created some stories that added up to something.
Can those people way over there, can they hear us?
Yeah, they can hear you.
And the people there? Okay, I want to... Wait a minute. Oh, for a minute I thought I saw an empty chair. No, if there were an empty chair, I would have left. I don't go... All right, what happens now?
Oh my God. I'm telling you, if you guys think this is funny, I mean, think about it, being around him 8-10 hours a day, just...
Never mind that, think of being around him, man has no sense of humor. All right, what do we do?
Because, okay, short story, because of him, I have to pay attention to what he's doing all the time. This is my second time I lost my suitcase.
Can't blame it on me. I don't have it.
We're going through the airport, and the cops are right there, and, "Hey, Stan Lee. And I'm like, "Come on, Stan, let's go." "No, let's just say hi." "No, we got to go. We're going to be late." Literally, he walks onto the plane. They're closing the door, and I said, "Hey, I got to get in." "Well, come on, get in already." But he doesn't matter. "Don't wait for me. I'm Stan Lee."
Are you making me sound foolish?
No, you sound great.
Because if you were, I'll ask you to leave.
No.
See, I have great power. I could say, "Leave," and he'd have to leave.
No.
Let's try that. No, I won't.
No. Speed dial, guys. Number 1 on here, and he knows who I'm talking about. The wifey.
See, I don't, no, it's true. I'm going to tell you a terrible thing, a situation I'm in. Even though I look like a model of physical perfection, I do not hear well. So he makes the phone calls for me on the cell phone. And when I want to check on how my wife is, I say, "Will you please call my wife?" Which doesn't sound right to me, but it's the only thing I can say. So he calls my wife more than I do. And the reason he held this up if I don't treat him nicely, he tells her bad things about me. So because I know you're all wondering why I bother with him when it would be so much nicer if I was up here alone. But it's all on account of my wife.
Yeah, it's true. She calls, did he eat? Does he sleep okay? And I go, yes, he's okay. Did he sign those autographs for the little kids? And I go, yes.
I can't hear a word he's saying.
Saying about how your wife says to make sure you sign all the autographs for the little kids.
Oh, yeah, it's easy for her to say while she's sitting home watching television.
So, hey, what we're going to do is just get right into it. There's a microphone right here. Let's just so not everybody runs up. Let's just have about maybe 10 to 20 people, and then once we get down, we'll put some more people in. So just, if there's little kids, let the kids get up, and we'll go from there. So we'll start with Mrs. Spock here.
Oh, my gosh, all those people who want to know things. What if I don't know how to answer their questions?
Let me see. There you go.
I said, all those people who want to know things, what if I don't know the answers to their questions? I'll feel dumb.
Who's going to do it?
I'll make things up. I'll lie. They don't know.
No. It's funny. You guys want to hear something funny real quick? We're on the way over here. Everybody knows it's about almost a 4-hour flight to get over here, right, to Cincinnati from Los Angeles. So he's seen Civil War, but he hasn't seen it like this, like up close so you can look at everything and hear the dialogue. So we're on the plane flying over.
What is he possibly going to say about me now?
This is the part. I'll get to it. Just let me. Right. So he's watching the movie, and I'm kind of watching him. And he's like, so he goes.
Not because of the movie. He's so boring, I always get tired.
So what I do, I pause the movie, and he's asleep. And I sneak right in there, turn it right back on. And he's like, oh, the movie's on. So he's looking at the movie. A few minutes later, and so on for a couple of times. Just before we land, about 10 minutes before the plane lands, the movie ends. Max, that was the greatest movie I've ever seen. I go, really? I go, yeah, but why in the hell would Marvel make a movie so long? I said, I don't know, Stan. That was my funny part because the whole movie, the plane.
This is the last time he ever comes on a platform with me.
So let's go with the questions.
That's an easy one.
That's a good one.
Is there going to be a Bucky Barnes solo movie?
Is there going to be what?
That's funny because he was asking about that. The Winter Soldier, Bucky.
Yeah.
Are they going to make a movie of his own?
Sooner or later, yes. They're going to make movies of, they're not so dumb, they're going to make movies of every character they have, as long as we all go to see them.
Go ahead.
Hi, I remember that you had said that Robert Downey's performance as Iron Man, you felt that he was born to be Iron Man.
What was that?
Do you feel that way about any other actor portrayals of Marvel characters?
Iron Man, you told once in an interview that he was born to be that character.
What?
But that's part one. Part two, is there any other actors that you think were born into the characters, like Chris Evans, Captain America?
All right. Chris Evans is funny, he was originally the Human Torch in the Fantastic Four.
I had the big
And he was
question.
good in that, but he is great as Captain America. But Robert Downey Jr. has taken over the role of Iron Man, I think, better than any actor ever could. He's put some kind of personality. Well, maybe I could do better, but aside from that, and he is, if that was the question, I think he's great. What I like about him, after the first movie, when I saw him backstage, he knelt down in front of me.
That was number two.
Was it movie number two?
Let me just tell them that one part.
All right.
We're sitting down, right about to go into the premiere of Iron Man 2. He's sitting down on the chair at the El Capitan, and then I look and I said, holy something. I was like, okay, here he comes. Let's see if he says anything or he just, goes right by. See Stan, and there's all kinds of photographers, and the next thing you know, he just literally walks up and he goes,
I don't know why he was surprised. I expect that.
it was so awesome. I was like, holy, and then I got a picture of it, but I promised I wouldn't show, but nobody else got it. It was just, Stan, you changed my life. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, and yada, yada, yada.
I'd rather he had paid me, but he thanked me.
But the part that the part that you kind of left out is before Iron Man 1 came out, the first Iron Man movie, you met with him at the Ivy, at the restaurant. He was asking pointers. Remember when you first met him? That's the actual first time you met him. He actually first met him.
I have no memory.
He actually first met him at the Ivy, and they were having a little chit-chat. So if you guys are asking how...
Oh, that's what he was asking me, how to play the role. And I never should have told him. I should have just played it myself. What was so... I was dumb, you know.
No, you gave him good instructions, so
Well,
he learned. So, and then the part 2.
Oh, about Robert Downey, one other thing. Everybody calls him Robert Downey. So one day I said to him, hey, does anybody ever call you Bob? He said, yeah, you can call me Bob or Bobo or Bobby or what do I care? So now I call him What Do I Care? All right, I think we spent enough time on Robert Downey Jr.
Thank
We're not
you.
his press agent, right?
You're-
You better spend this much time talking about me when he goes to a panel. Is this thing off again?
Yeah, you turned it off. There you go.
They look so happy when this is off. I don't know why.
Go ahead, buddy.
So what was it like for you creating Marvel?
What was it like you creating Marvel?
I'll show you why I'm such a good interview subject, why everybody likes to hear my answers. It was nice. And actually, while I was doing it, it wasn't all that much fun because there was too much suspense. Each time I'd come out with a strip, I had to worry, will it sell? Will the public like it? Because if they didn't like it, I would have probably been fired and have to do some real work for a living. So it was hard work. In those early days, the artists, the letterers, the colorists, me, we worked long hours, and but we enjoyed what? I was going strong. For the first time, I had something to say, and I wasn't stumbling, and I wasn't stuttering, and you couldn't stand that. Let me just be a nice talker and let it go. You have to interrupt it. I'm not bringing you anymore.
No, see, sometimes, guys, is that he talks about these stories like you're hearing right now, back in the day at how it was, how hard it was. And he tells me things, and I hear some things, but then, he might say the story this particular way with this group. And then he might add something else to the story that this group didn't hear it, and it's here. And so I kind of started picking his brain, and I asked him, what did you guys tell him what you used to do when delivery boys used to come by and...
This was terrible in the early days.
Yeah.
You know how much the artwork is worth today, the original artwork, if you had any.
Yeah.
We'd send down for sandwiches, and a delivery boy would deliver the sandwich. Now, the engraver would send us back all the artwork after they had used it, and they were pages this big, kind of thick, and we had hundreds of them in the office because we were doing a lot of books. And we didn't know what to do with all that artwork. So when somebody would make a delivery to the office, instead of tipping the guy, because we were cheapskates, we didn't have much money, we would say to him, hey, before you go, you want to take some artwork with you? And we'd give them as much artwork as they could hold, because that was clearing out the office. Because our office was about this big, and we didn't have room for us and the artwork. So we gave it to anybody who'd come up to the office. So there must be some very rich delivery men now wondering. Is that the story? Is that what you wanted?
Part of it, and then
did I tell it nicely?
Perfect.
Okay.
Now tell him how much you got paid per page. Listen to this part.
I think it was $8 a page. And once I got a raise, I think I got up to $10 or $12.
When he first started, it was pennies he got. He got 12 cents.
No, I didn't get 12 cents.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
12
I
cents?
know. Trust
Really?
me, I know. Yes.
Are you serious?
Dead serious.
12 cents a page?
Yes.
I should have gone on strike.
And listen, and then this is
Does
the...
he know?
And this is the funny part. If you guys if you Google it, and some pictures of him in the office, when he did something for a company, I can't remember the name to it off the top of my head. He'll remember it when I say it. And the back wall, framed, is a check that he got for working for something that he did. Do you remember the check that you have on the back of the wall? You don't remember? He said, you're going to mess up their accounting system. You're not going to cash
Oh,
it.
a penny.
He got a penny. He got paid a penny's work. And I was like, what did you do? I was there all day and they just gave me this. A penny.
Yeah, but I like what he said about messing, is this thing on?
Yeah.
About messing their accounting system. I figured I'm never going to cash that check. And their bookkeepers will say there's 1 cent unaccounted for. And they'll spend years trying to figure out what happened. You know, they have to have everything accounted. What are we talking about? Why?
Just stories about you.
All right.
Just stories. So let's go to the next one.
Okay, I know you've heard this question at least like a million times before, but I'm currently in college, and how do you get a job at Marvel for like the business side or intellectual property law, if you would have any tips? Because that's been my dream since I was a kid.
All I heard was the name Alexander. There must have been more than
He
that.
says he's trying to get some advice how to get into Marvel, basically.
You open the door, knock on the door. No, that's the hard, really, that is the hardest question for me to answer when people say, I'm a writer, what should I do? Or I'm an artist, how can I get work? I've been so removed from getting work there or giving work or supervising the work. They have a bunch of editors, as you know, if you've been reading the books. If there's any character you would particularly think that you'd be good at writing, the thing to do is write a little story outline and send it to the editor of that particular book with a note saying you're a writer. But I've got to tell you, it's very difficult because they get a lot of that and they don't even have time to read them much. The best way to get in a writing job at Marvel is to be a professional writer. That is, if you've had books printed or you've had stuff printed in the newspaper, columns or something, and you could send what you've done, they'll at least look at it and consider you because they'll know you're a professional. But if you're just somebody wanting to break in, it is tough as hell. The best thing to do is find an editor you like, wait till he goes home at night, follow him, and try to grab him and try to grab him and talk to him before he can shake you loose, you know. And with artwork, it's a little different. If you, what?
Do you have any idea?
Am I saying wrong
Do you have
things?
any idea how much trouble you're going to get these guys going, yeah, Stan Lee told me to do this.
I don't care. I'm thousands of miles away from Marvel. I don't have to worry. They're in New York, haha. Anyway,
We're going to
if you're
New
in,
York. We're going to New
well, they're
York.
not going to shoot me. I hope. No, they love me. They do. If you're an artist and you want to get to work in the comic business, it's a little easier because you can make up samples. Let's say you think you'd be good at drawing Spider-Man. So you can draw a few pages of Spider-Man, your own drawings, send them into the editor, and if your artwork is really great, he might call you and say, hey, let's talk. It's easier to tell with art. You can look at artwork and in a minute you know if it's good or bad. But writing, there's no way to tell. Nobody takes the time to read it. Most of them don't have that great knowledge of writing anyway. And give me another question.
Thank you.
Let's go to the next one.
You're welcome.
So, out of all the stories that you've written in your career, which one is your favorite?
Of all the stories you've written, which was your best one you liked?
Oh, gosh, I'm not good at favorites. First of all, I don't have a good enough memory to remember all the stories I've written. What do you mean? This was my question.
But I know
You even butt into my questions?
know the answer.
Before I can answer the question, you're butting in?
I know I've been.
All right,
with them for over
I don't
10
know
years.
the
Like,
answers, so tell me.
What one of your favorite stories that you enjoy the most is the one with the Daredevil issue that the police officer or the
Oh, yeah, when the cop, Daredevil, met a policeman who had been in the army, and he lost his sight, and he felt life wasn't worth living. And Daredevil somehow made him feel better about himself, to put it bluntly. And another bunch of stories I like the Silver Surfer. I don't know if any of you ever read the Silver Surfer book I did with the French artist Mobius, and I love that. I love Spider-Man, any Spider-Man, I love that. But you know, it's funny, if I start mentioning what my favorite is, what I like, I'll be touching every one, because now that I think of it, I love Iron Man, I love the Avengers, I love the X-Men, I just realized something, I'm my biggest fan. It never occurred to me, I should be sitting there listening to me.
Sometimes he says that. He says he wishes he can stand out there and see what it is to what you guys see up here.
No, enjoy the wonderment of me. See, I don't get as...
Cool. Next question, guys.
Hi, I was just wondering, in the future Marvel movies for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is there a specific character like the Watcher that you would like to play?
Why don't they get loud microphones? Are they too cheap to have a third loud microphone?
No.
Sorry, sir,
It's
I'm a
not
little
fair.
tall.
I want to hear every word that man said. What did he say?
I'll let him speak up a little louder. Go ahead.
With the next couple Avenger movies, is there a specific character like the Watcher that you would like to play in those movies?
No, that didn't help. You tell me.
In any other future Marvel movies, is there a character in the Marvel universe you would like to play in the movie?
Every one of them. Every single. I'd be so good at playing anybody. No, I really have never thought of that. I don't think of playing characters. I think of what can I play outside of the characters that would make a good cameo. Because you may not know this, but I do cameos. And I love them.
It's funny when he says, again, from experience, when we went to the Thor premiere, we're going down the red carpet, and all of a sudden, if you guys, again, Google it up, they had Odin's throne on the red carpet. It was cornered off, and it was just basically for eye candy. He walks up and goes, I want to be up there. And I go, go ahead, go do it. Who's going to stop you? You should have seen it. I'm walking toward it. You got 3 big-ass security guards walking toward me. And I said, okay, I'll get them right now. And then I just take a step back, and he just goes right ahead. And they're like, oh. Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Lee. Go on up.
But they didn't let me take it home with me.
He's on there. He's on the throne. He gets on the throne. There's photos of it. When he came down, the first thing he said to me, why didn't I play Odin?
I should have.
Thank you, sir.
Next question.
Hey, this is fun, even with you.
So clearly everybody in this room grew up with a fictional hero, and you pretty much created most of them for the people in this room. Who were your fictional heroes when you were growing up?
Who's your heroes?
Can they all hear what was said?
Yeah.
Can everybody hear that?
He's going to feel bad right now.
Like, what do you think?
Who are your heroes growing up?
Oh. Well, I went to the movies, so Errol Flynn, if you remember him.
Yep.
He was my big hero. I used to leave the theater when I was about 12 or 13 years old after I saw Errol Flynn as a hero in some movie, and I would look around and see if there's a little girl that some bully is picking on so that I could go and rescue her from that bully after I saw Errol Flynn. And that was it. He was my big hero. See, I can give short answers.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
First off, thank you for coming to Cincinnati, Mr. Lee. We appreciate it.
You are welcome, and thank you for having me, because this is great.
I'm even trying to think of the question I want to ask. There's so many. Okay, is there a comic book character that reminds you of your wife or that makes you think of her? It doesn't even have to be Marvel.
Reminds me of the life, that's all I heard.
If there's a comic book character that reminds you of your wife.
Oh, any of the beautiful ones. I gotta tell you, that reminds me of one of my favorite lines that I wrote, and I don't know.
I'm not saying anything.
I don't know why they didn't use it in the Spider-Man movie, the first one. In the books, Peter Parker's aunt had wanted him to meet the girl next door for the longest time. And he didn't bother because most teenage boys, if their aunt or their mother says, I know a very nice girl for you, they'd run a mile. Teenage boys aren't looking for nice girls. So he had been avoiding her. And somehow in this story I wrote, in the very last panel, he opens up the door and there she is. And John Romita drew her looking like the sexiest, most beautiful girl that ever lived. And he looks at her and she says, face it, Tiger, you hit the jackpot. I love that line. And I'm so angry they didn't do it in the movie.
Tell them why you like that particular scene so much.
Well, because she looked like my wife to me.
No. The reason being, I'll make it short. When he was going to meet he was going out on a blind date.
Oh, I can tell that.
Go ahead.
You get into all my stories, and I
know your stories.
No, when I got out of the Army, I was looking to meet people, and a friend of mine said, hey, I got a great blind date for you. She works in a model agency, some girl named Betty. So I wasn't not gonna go, a model. So I went up to the agency, I knocked on the door, and this girl who looked like MJ opened the door.
Hang on. But before you say that,
okay.
Tell them about the drawings that you used to do.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for reminding me. When I was a kid, I used to draw. And there was one girl I drew all the time, my idealized version of what the prettiest girl in the world would look like. I always kept drawing that face. And this girl who opened the door at the model agency, she was the girl I had been drawing all this time. And then I heard her voice. She had an English accent, which I'm a nut for. And she said, may I help you? And I looked at this vision, and I think I said something like, I love you. Anyway, so I never met Betty, who I was supposed to meet, but I took Joni out to lunch, and we got married, and that was it. Why was I telling that? What was the point?
The reason being is that a lot of the stuff, a lot of us grew up on his stories, and somehow, some way, in some story, it touches us in a part of our life that we might be going through something. And I tell them all the time is that sometimes the stories that you write are about the experiences that you go through, and the reference that he did with Mary Jane, you hit the jackpot, is the one of his wife.
Well, all my stories are experiences I go to. Did I ever tell you the time that I met Dr. Doom?
But anyway, so that he doesn't think it consciously. I think when he writes his stories, he's thinking subconsciously, and it refers to a lot of the things that he's gone through his life, the good, the bad, the highlights to the, what's going on in the country. When he created the X-Men, because of all the, this discrimination at the time, what was going on with the blacks, the whites, and so on, how they were different, they were treated different, and that's why he came up with the X-Men, to show that.
Tell you a funny story about the X-Men. I wanted to do the X-Men, so I went to my publisher and I told him about it, and he liked the idea. He said, okay. But then he said, what do you call the strip? And originally I wanted to call it The Mutants. And he said, no, you can't call it The Mutants. And I said, why? He says, nobody knows what a mutant is. he didn't have much respect for the intelligence of our readers. So he said, nobody would know what a mutant is. I said, okay. And then I decided to call them the X-Men because they had extra power. So he said that was okay. So as I walked out of his office, I was wondering, if nobody would know what a mutant is, how is anybody going to know what an X-Man is? But I had the name and I wasn't going to make waves. So that's what it was.
There you go.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lee, thank you.
Okay. You might as well thank him. He's doing all the work.
No.
Out of all the Marvel movies, which one is your favorite and why?
Of all the Marvel movies, which one's your favorite?
Say that again?
Of all the Marvel movies, which one is your
Oh,
favorite?
I don't have a favorite. Each one that I see, I say, man, this is the best. Then I see the next one. I say, this is the greatest. I really love them all. In fact, the only one I was a little disappointed in, I thought the movie was great, the actors were great, but the first Fantastic Four didn't have Dr. Doom in it the way I like Dr. Doom and his armor and his mask and everything. So I was disappointed in that. But it was a good movie. But I think all of the movies, I don't know how Marvel does it. It's like every new one is better than the one before. End of pitch.
Thanks, it's been an honor.
What was that?
He says thank you, and it's an
Oh, you're welcome.
What is your favorite cameo that you've made in the movies?
What's your favorite cameo so far?
I think the one where, was it in Thor? Yeah. Where Thor is having a strong drink, and I ask for a sip, and he says, no, it's too strong for you. But I insist, and he gives me a sip, and then in the next scene, they're dragging me out, and I'm saying, Excelsior! And if you want to know the reason I like that so much, if you think about it, it is the only cameo I've done where I had two scenes.
So far.
So far.
Thank you.
Next question.
Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Lee. Thank you for your time. I just wanted to ask, which Marvel character appeals to you on a personal level the most?
Which
And
Marvel character? What?
Appeals to you on a personal level.
To be very honest, they all do, because every one of them has a little story to it that means something to me, like Doctor Strange, for example. His incantations, the things he says when he's performing whatever things he does, he doesn't say abracadabra. He says, by the hoary hosts of Hoggoth. And I made up all those incantations, and I love them. By the shades of the shadowy seraphim, is it? And by the crystal rings of Sidarok. They don't mean anything, but I thought they sounded real good. And they were better than abracadabra, so that's why I like Doctor Strange. What was the question?
Which one appeals to you the most?
All right, Doctor Strange, just so we get an answer.
all right.
I'm no good at, there are two things I'm no good at. What's my favorite and what appeals to me the most? Everything is my favorite and everything good appeals to me. So I don't know how I can ever figure this is the best, the worst. I like everything. I love this audience. No, you people are great. First of all, you tolerate him. Most audiences would have had him kicked out by now.
Right, thank you for your time.
So I was wondering, what is your favorite cosplay that you've seen at the Cincinnati Comic Expo?
Oh, I can answer. We literally came. His question is, what is your favorite cosplay character that you've seen here at the Expo? We literally got off the plane. It was funny. There was two cops waiting for us on the jetway, and they go.
I thought I was under arrest.
He goes, Mr. Lee? And he goes, no, it's him. So I'm like, throw me under the bus. But literally, we just came from the airport straight here. So we haven't seen any of the conventions except the signing. So we'll see tomorrow.
Sweet. Thank you.
We won't see anything tomorrow because we won't have time because we're going to be working here all day long tomorrow. You know
Work for
that.
them.
What?
You're working for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would so.
Yeah, but didn't you say we'd be seeing some?
We'll see them. They'll come in front of us.
Oh, I thought you meant we'd be seeing the sights of the city.
No.
Forgive me, I was wrong.
The characters that dress up.
Oh.
Like
Oh.
this guy right here, how he's dressed up as.
I thought that was a normal way of looking.
Next question, guys.
Thank you so much for coming, Mr. Lee.
You are so welcome.
I just wanted
Yeah, I
to
heard
ask
that.
you, ever since I was about 3 years old, I loved Spider-Man, and I was obsessed with it, even those really, really bad PG-13 ones. It was like all blood, and I was like, oh, Spider-Man's beating people up! Wow, it's all like blood is gushing everywhere. I'm like, oh my gosh. But anyway, I always grew up loving Spider-Man. So how did you get that idea?
What did you come up with the idea of Spider-Man?
Do you know she got bigger laughs than I did?
No,
He.
How old are you?
Is that I can't say.
How old are you?
11.
He's 11-year-old
It's a boy, I'm sorry. He got bigger laughs than I did. I'd like you to leave. Now, what was the question?
How did you come up with the idea of Spider-Man?
Can I tell that whole story?
It's up to you.
It's a long story. If any of you have any important appointments, you could leave now, because I had already done the Fantastic Four, and I don't know which else, X-Men or whatever we had, and my boss, the publisher, and remember, I'm just working for a living, getting paid so much a page, he said to me, Stan, I want you to come up with another superhero. So if I would, that's good. If I didn't, I'd probably be fired. So I went home and I started thinking. Now, with a superhero, the most important thing is what superpower do you give him? And I couldn't think of any new superpowers, and then I saw a fly crawling on the wall. And I thought, boy, wouldn't it be cool if a hero could crawl on walls like a fly? No, I'm not telling you the truth. I didn't say, wouldn't it be cool? I probably said, wouldn't it be groovy? Because in those days, they didn't have the word cool yet. But anyway, I thought that would be a good idea. So then I began to think about it, and I said, boy, and what I'm going to do, I'll give him a name of an insect, like Fly Man. That didn't sound dramatic. Mosquito Man. No. I went down the list, and then I got to Spider-Man. I thought, Spider-Man. Oh, boy, that sounded good. So I had the name. I had the power. He could stick to walls. And if he was a Spider-Man, I'd find a way for him to shoot webs. And then I figured I'll make him a teenager, because that'll make him different than all the other characters. And finally, I'm going to give him personal problems, the kind that any teenager would have, so the teenagers could relate to him. So I got real excited about that idea, and I ran into my publisher's office. This is the reception I got. You say you want to call a character Spider-Man? Stan, people hate spiders. You can't use a name like that. And you want him to be a teenager? Teenagers can only be sidekicks. They can't be heroes. And you say you want him to have personal problems? Superheroes don't have personal problems. Don't you know what a superhero is? Well, boy, you could imagine how happy I was when I left the office. I figured, that's it, he'll fire me in the next few days. But we were going to kill a book we had, a magazine called Amazing Adult Fantasy or something like that. When you're going to kill a book, nobody cares what you put in the last issue, because it's going to die anyway. Just to get it out of my system, I put Spider-Man in that book and forgot about it. A month later, all the sales figures came in from all the books. And Amazing Adult Fantasy, the book we were going to kill with Spider-Man in it, was by far the best-selling book we had had that month. So my boss came running into my office. Stan, do you remember that character Spider-Man that we both liked so much? I swear, said, let's make it a series. And now you all know the true story of how Spider-Man was born.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Luke. They're making a movie about you, and I was wondering, what actor would you like to play you?
Gee, I don't know. Clark Gable is dead, and Errol Flynn is dead. There's nobody left. I don't know. Somebody incredibly charming and talented and likable, and
Maybe somebody you know.
not you.
What about your neighbor?
What's his name? The Latino name. Leonardo DiCaprio. No, I believe it or not, I'm not a name dropper, but I know him. He's kind of a friend of mine. And
It's his neighbor.
he had discussed doing a picture of my life sometime, but he's so busy with other stuff, and I wasn't pushing it. But now somebody really seems to want to do one, but they want to do it, if you've read about it, I think they want to do it in a funny way. It won't be just my life, it'll be like a comedy based on my life. I have no idea why, we haven't really discussed it that much. But keep watching, and if anything comes of it, you can always say, we heard it first here in Cincinnati.
Thank you.
Okay, I was wondering if you could tell us anything about your appearance in Doctor Strange, and also if you would say, I know, it's
Oh, no worry.
it's worth a shot.
He wants to know about anything about Doctor Strange. You're not going to say anything.
I told you his 3 incantations. I don't know any more about it. I haven't, did I do my cameo? I did. Oh, is it a good one? Will they like it? Because if they don't like it, I'm doing it over. All right.
We did a cameo. Actually, we did 4 films. We did. He did Guardian 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, the new Spider-Man movie, and Doctor Strange, and then a little Disney thing that we did. But
I haven't seen any of them yet.
Okay, and I was also wondering.
Sure, they're great.
I was also wondering if you would say hi to my mom and my grandmother, because they're the reason I'm here.
his mom and his grandmother are on his camera, and he's facing it this way. He wants you to say hi.
Oh, hi. Hi to your mom and grandma, and hi to you, and hi to any other relatives that I've omitted at the moment.
Thank you so much.
Hello. You were just mentioning that when you created Spider-Man, it wasn't initially a success, your pitch. So were there any characters you came up with that were flat out rejected or never got made?
Were there any characters that you made that were just flat?
You don't have to talk low to me. I talk loud enough. If I can't hear you, I'm in big trouble.
What? He's asking if there's any characters that you created that were rejected and just never made.
No. No, the only experience I had was with, as I told you, with Spider-Man. After that, whatever I wanted to do, my publisher let me do it.
Hi, Stan.
Hi.
Jim Steranko tells a story that he's told over and over and over again, that the first time he met you and you saw his portfolio, you were so amazed that you offered him his pick of whatever Marvel title
Whatever Marvel title he wanted to work
he wanted to do. Can I hear your side of that recollection of meeting Steranko and his BS story?
When you, he wants to hear your side of the story, how you and Steranko met.
It's actually probably true, because when I met Steranko and I saw his artwork, it was wonderful. And the thing about his art, it is different than any other comic book artist. He has his own style. I don't know if all of you are familiar with James Steranko. He did a lot of Captain Americas and others. But he made a decision that I always thought was a bad one. He published his own magazine. It wasn't a comic magazine, it was some kind of a magazine. I don't remember what it was, but he was so interested in it because it was his own magazine that he stopped doing comics to concentrate on the magazine. And this man could have been, I think, one of the greatest comic book and most famous comic book artists. Instead, he spent time on that magazine that nobody even knows about. I'm hoping he'll still want to come back into comics.
He does a little bit, Stan.
He still does some?
Just a little
Well, I hope he's doing it for Marvel.
Yeah, he is.
Okay. And one other thing about Jim, he was also a professional magician sometime. If you ever meet him, ask him to do a card trick or something.
Thanks, Stan.
Hey, guys, we just have enough for 3 more questions, and then we got to do something for them. They're going to give them something. So 3 more people, and that's it, guys. I wish we can take care of everybody, but the next 3 are the last 3 we're taking. Go ahead.
Hello, Stan. Thank you for coming. My favorite character has always been Hank Pym's Ant-Man, and I was just wondering the story behind creating a character with the shrinking abilities and named Ant-Man.
I don't really remember. I think I was just looking for a new character. And, after a while you think, I've done them all. I've got the strongest guy in the world, the Hulk, and the Thing, and I've got this character. What can I do that's different? And I think, did we have a Giant Man before we had Ant-Man?
No, it was Ant-Man, then Giant Man.
Oh, Ant-Man came first?
Yeah, then you had Goliath.
Yeah, then Goliath. I have no memory. But anyway, I must have thought, gee, what about a little hero? That would be different. It might be stupid, but it would be different. So I thought of Ant-Man, and I got to like it. Then I gave him a girlfriend called the Wondrous or the Wonderful Wasp. She could turn into a wasp. I think I must have been drunk that day. But what the hell? They worked.
Thank you.
Next 2 questions.
They didn't put the wasp in the movie, did they?
Yeah, they did.
They did?
Briefly.
Okay.
So back to Doctor Strange, I wonder sometimes about the words that you came up with sound vaguely Asian, Agamotto, Dormammu. I wonder what the process was that you used to make up all those crazy words.
Don't call them crazy words. I want that man put on report.
Did you bounce him off Steve Ditko at all, or was it all you?
Oh yeah. I like making up names, and I thought Dormammu was a good one.
Yeah.
No name like Dormammu.
Yeah, Dormammu.
And no, I just make them up. Whatever sounds good to me, I do. I wish there was some trick answer I could give you, but
It's true how he comes up with names. We have a team of people that work with us. He can't remember Tom, Dick, Janet, or whatever.
Oh, those names are hard to remember.
So he comes up, everybody gets a name that works with us. I'm the zookeeper. John right here is Hairspray. There's another guy called Tail Light, because he's always behind us, following us. There's another guy called the Raging Alcoholic. He doesn't drink.
I did a newspaper strip once. I forget the name. It was a funny strip. And I had a character in it called Also, because he said, people are always saying, oh yeah, you can bring him also if you want. So we called him Also, but that's getting aside the point. That's away from what we're talking about. So I want you to strike that from your record.
So,
Thank you.
Guys, one last question. That's it, my man.
Now that's giving him a hell of a responsibility. The last question, and he's thinking, boy, this better be good.
Okay, I have a 2-part question.
I'm making a 1-part question because then my man will get the second one, just to be fair.
Okay, the first part is, Stan, I heard that you are legally allowed to marry people. I want to know if that's true, and if so, I want to know if you would marry me and my fiance tonight.
He's asking that you can legally marry people because you're and he wants to know if you can marry him and his fiancée.
You know, according to what they tell me, I can.
Oh.
But if I were you, if I did it, I would still go to a justice of the peace or something. When I moved out to the coast, I saw an ad. It said, become a member of, I forget the name of the church.
Baptist ministry.
No, it wasn't Baptist. It's some funny name.
the ad.
And for $25, you become a minister. So I figured, what have I got to lose? So this was 30 years ago. So I became a minister in that church. And they kept sending me stuff. I even have a thing for my car. I can keep it on the dashboard. If I park in a no parking zone, it says cleric on duty. So I've never done it. And I actually even married a friend and her groom. But right after that, they went to a real person and got married again. So that's the story. If you want me to marry you, or, I mean, with you and somebody, I'll be glad to do it. But I don't promise that it'll be, anybody will care.
That's fine.
What did he say? He says that's fine.
All right.
You want to do it?
What's your first name?
Alan.
Alex?
Alan.
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 Alan. And your name?
Mia.
Mia?
Mia.
Leah. Alan and Leah.
Mia.
Mia. Alan and Mia.
Nia with the
Alan
N.
and Nia.
Yes, there you go.
Triumph when I get a name right. All right, Alan and Nia. You are about to enter a very important ceremony, very important part of your life. Alan, do you take Nia to be your lawfully wedded wife, to honor her, love her, cherish her for as long as you live?
I do.
And Nia, do you take Alan as your husband, your lawful legal husband, and to love him, honor him, and be with him for the rest of your life?
I do.
Well then, by the power vested in me, I declare you man and wife. What a great way to end this.
Well, actually, we got my man right here. This is the guy that's going to hold water right here. This is the guy that's gonna end
nothing
it.
could be as dramatic as that. All right, but go ahead.
Let's try. Go ahead, buddy.
Okay, well, I apologize for dressing up as a DC character in the Marvel panel.
He apologizes dressing up as a DC character. We're one big happy family.
No, we're not. Get him out of here.
Okay.
Only kidding.
Oh, I'm Static Shock. You can't kick me out. I'm just kidding. All right.
Who's he dressed as?
Static Shock.
Static Shock.
Static Shock.
That's a DC character?
Little character.
No wonder they're in the tank.
Well, color me impressed.
Beat him up. Huh?
All right.
Keep punching.
But my question was, how did you actually feel cameoing in Deadpool around all those women? How did your wife even feel
You're
about
gonna get me in
that?
trouble here.
What?
He wants to know, how did you feel in your cameo with Deadpool with all those women around you?
I have bad news for you.
Oh boy.
For me. That was not filmed in the club with all the women. I wish it were. But they brought a little crew out separately to where I am, and they just had me shout what I shouted. And I was shouting it to the four walls around there. There were no topless girls or any girls anywhere nearby. And come to think of it,
You hear everybody's in here going, oh.
well, I was going, oh, too.
He didn't get that part when he was doing that cameo. He was like, what do I say? He just said those names. And then when he finally saw the movie, what the hell did you do? Why didn't you get me in that cameo? Where were the girls? And the only thing I can say, just think of your wife if she saw this.
No, I wasn't thinking of myself. I'm thinking of all those girls who were probably thinking, why wasn't Stan in our scene?
Who's going to say it? All right, guys, that's the end of the question. But we have one more thing that they're going to do for Stan. Stan, if you care to stand up for a moment.
Stan and Max, thank you very much. We're just going to remove some stuff here. Everybody, after this, please stick around for something else that we're going to ask for as many of you to try to be involved in as possible. So just be it proclaimed, whereas Stan Lee is an artist and creator of characters in comic books and films which will be recognized for the rest of time, and his decades of work at Timely Comics and Marvel Comics has given us characters such as Iron Man, Spider-Man, the Hulk, Thor, and many more, as well as their stories.
You forgot Dormammu.
And whereas Stan Lee has brought endless entertainment to fans across the world, especially here in the Queen City, and from the pulp of the comic books, he has appeared in numerous cameo roles of feature films to the enjoyment and pleasure of fans everywhere. And
whereas Stan Lee has chosen the Cincinnati Comic Expo to welcome guests and visitors from across the region and beyond, and at age 93, Stan is still traveling to meet and thank his fans who made it all possible at all corners of the globe. And whereas his creations and contributions will live forever as inspiration, a reminder for all of us to dream ever upward, and Stan Lee's own words, let everyone here, as well as far and wide, strive for Excelsior. Now, therefore, John Cranley, Mayor of the City of Cincinnati, do hereby proclaim September 23rd, 2016 as Stan Lee Day in Cincinnati.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank the mayor for me. Wow, I have to tell you something. If it's Stan Lee Day, I want to know one thing. If I'm to believe this, are the schools closed? Are the banks closed? Is the post office still open? I want to talk to the mayor. No, seriously, thank you very much. Thank the mayor. Hey, you're the greatest audience. I wish we could stay longer. I know you may not, but it was fun for me. Forget him, and maybe we'll do it again sometime. Thank you very much. Excelsior.